It's officially Earth Month, a great reminder to cut down our footprint and change our everyday habits to be more eco-friendly ones. Now, I can't espresso how much our next guest will spill, but I'm sure they're ready to pour out the details. Rosa Angelica Sarvia joins us along with Ashley Fleming from Pachamama Coffee on how their products are sustainable. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, we're excited to have you on this morning. We've got the lovely coffee here this morning, so it's already a great start to the Monday. And what makes Pachamama Coffee unique and sustainable?
Yeah, so what makes Pachamama Coffee unique is that it's the first and only coffee cooperative in North America to be owned and governed by coffee farmers in Latin America and Africa. So we're owned by coffee farmers and cooperatives in Peru, Nicaragua, Guatemala, Mexico, and Ethiopia. And Pachamama began in 2006, but this really started as a conversation more than 20 years ago by cooperative leaders in Latin America to be able to access the market in the US, because oftentimes farmers don't get much of that receiving end. Nothing flows back to origin. So farmers really had this vision of creating a brand owned by the coffee farmers, which makes it so powerful and unique.
Yeah, I think that makes it definitely very unique. And what are some initiatives you are doing in your business operations to focus on sustainability?
Yeah, so here on the cafe side of things and our online business, we have a refillable program. So instead of getting a new package of coffee every time, you can cut out your waste and refill that canister. We also have a program where you bring in your coffee cup instead of using the to-go one to cut back on that waste. For our online side of the business, we are doing carbon offsets to, whenever we ship from here in Sacramento across the country, cuts back a little bit of that so we can all do our part. And then within the next year, we're hoping to switch our packaging from a plastic one to a biodegradable. So keep an eye out for that. We're excited to launch that program.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys have been very sustainable throughout this. And even though it's Earth Month, it seems like you've been doing this for a while, which I think is so important and needed. And I wanted to ask, what is the difference between shade-grown, organic coffee, and other coffee?
Yes, something that makes organic coffee really important and unique is that it's grown in the natural ecosystem, of that location. So I recently had the opportunity to visit the cooperative in Huatusco, Mexico, and literally you have the coffee plants, and on top of that you have a layer of banana trees giving some shade, and on top of that you have another tier of macadamia nut trees, and that just provides the perfect environment for organic coffee to be grown. And that also means that there's no use of chemical pesticides or chemical fertilizers. Farmers continue to practice harmonious relationship with nature, using what's in the natural environment to preserve it, which in long term is going to preserve the future of coffee and the sustainability of it.
Yeah, I did not know the whole process that goes into that. So hearing it, it's very interesting. And you mentioned you were a cooperative. What does that mean, and how are those practices different from a typical business structure?
Yeah, so a cooperative is really unique because instead of being owned by one or two folks, at the top, it's owned collectively by everyday people, kind of like you and me.
Yeah.
So their interests are really represented with all of the business decisions. And, our coffee farmers came together collectively to be able to access the market better and, invest in programs at origin like gender equity and health programs. And, they're able to learn more about how best to grow their coffee trees, combat climate change. So they're able to do that together instead of on their own where they have to figure it out. So that's what makes it really special.
Yeah.
And something to add on to that, going on that gender equity, we're seeing a lot more women taking on leadership positions in the cooperative movement. And so our president, which we're really proud of, is Merlin Presa, a woman, which is a cooperative leader in Nicaragua. And we're just seeing more women take on positions of power, which is really something we don't see in the conventional mainstream sector.
Yeah, and I feel like that's so important to highlight. We just celebrated Women's History Month in March, whoop, whoop, but we got to celebrate women all year round, so I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, and we have some of the awesome options that you have in studio today. So walk us through what you brought in today so people know the different flavors and variety you have at Pachamama.
Yeah, so today we brought in 2 bags of beans. One of them is from Mexico, the cooperative that Rosa got to visit that she mentioned earlier, and the other one is from Manos Campesinas in Guatemala. Those are 2 medium roast coffees, really great options. We also brought in a matcha, so if you don't like coffee, we do have some tea and matcha options. And then we brought in cold brew, which is great now that it's starting to heat up here in Sacramento. And then obviously just the regular drip coffee, the typical choice.
Yeah, all the different flavors. I want to make sure I let our viewers know where they can go for more information. For more steamy information, visit pachamamacoffee.com.